Hi everyone, I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Law Co. in Denver, Colorado, and you're watching All Up in Your Business. In this episode of All Up in Your Business, I'm going to answer the age-old question, do I need to include fill in the blank in my trademark? But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and turn on that little bell. Hit that little bell button so you guys get notifications anytime I post a new video. And, smash that like button, share it to all your friends, do all the other things that us YouTubers tell you to do. And don't forget to check the description for links to additional information and resources, such as my free guide, 3 tips for trademarking your brand. All right, so a big question that I get a lot is, do I need to include LLC in my trademark? If you have your company formed as an LLC, pretty much every state, I believe, has a requirement that your name needs to include some indication that it's an LLC. So typically we'll have business name LLC or business name limited or limited liability company. For most of us, probably all of us, our registered LLC name includes LLC at the end of it. Or if we're talking corporations, it will include Inc. or incorporated or something like that. So some other entity designator typically has to be in the actual legal registered name of the business. So if you're looking to register a trademark for your business's name, do you include LLC or Inc. in the trademark? Well, the problem here is with the question, do I need to include LLC in my trademark? This question is flawed from the jump, from the very beginning. It's not, do I need to include this in my trademark? What the question really is, or should be, is what is my trademark? If you're looking to register a trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office in the US, if you want a federally registered trademark, you have to indicate on the trademark application what the trademark is. And if we're dealing with just kind of a standard character mark, standard word mark like we would for a business name, we would put the name on the application. But that doesn't mean that's what our business name is. We don't have to trademark our registered business name. We don't have to trademark anything. But just because you have a business name, like, okay, I'm just going to use mine, 180 Law Co. LLC. Just because that's my business name doesn't mean that has to be my trademark, because it's not. I don't go around saying 180 Law Co. LLC. I call it 180 Law Co. And that's what my trademark is registered, because that's what I'm using, because that's what the trademark is. So going back to the original question, do I need to include LLC in my trademark? Yes, if that's what your trademark is going to be. If your trademark is going to include LLC in it, then yes, you need to include LLC in your trademark. But if you're going to be, if your marketing and promotional materials, if your website, or if the things that you're going to be using your trademark on don't include LLC on them, then don't include LLC in the trademark. You can have, again, using me as an example, my registered business name is 180 Law Co. LLC. But when you go to my website, or when you, read most of the description in my YouTube videos, or when you see my business card, it just says 180 Law Co. for the most part. There's some, 180 Law Co. LLC in a few spots, but for the most part, my trademark is 180 Law Co. I decided that I didn't want to include LLC in it, and there's no requirement that your trademark include LLC if you don't want it to. Now, if I did, for whatever reason, want to actually go by 180 Law Co. LLC, if my logo said 180 Law Co. LLC, or if wherever I put my business name, if I always included LLC, then I would want to include LLC in my trademark, because that's what the trademark is. And the same goes for any other, entity designators. You don't have to include Inc. in the trademark if you don't want it to be a part of the trademark, or any other real, portions. Your trademark can be whatever you want your trademark to be. That's ultimately my point here, is that if you don't want it to include LLC or Corp or whatever other element of it, then it doesn't have to. An important thing to remember, though, or rather to keep in mind, in probably all circumstances, these designations like LLC or Inc. or Corp or whatever else, they're not really going to be taken into account when the USPTO and the examining attorney is evaluating the trademark. So let's say, again, just using me as an example, let's say I'm trying to file a trademark registration for 180 Law Co. LLC. If I see that there's already a registered trademark for 180 Law Co., me adding LLC isn't really going to help me at all in getting around that conflicting or other similar trademark. The LLC portion of it isn't just considered distinctive. It's just kind of describing the structure of your business. So that element of the trademark typically isn't going to be sufficient to differentiate your mark from another one, which might be identical or very similar to it. So that's an important thing to keep in mind, is that including that isn't going to be a big factor in whether or not your trademark gets registered ultimately. But it is important to think about how you're actually going to use your trademark, what the trademark's actually going to look like when you're using it. So I suppose ultimately, when we boil it down, the answer to the question, should I include fill in the blank in my trademark? The answer is, do you want to include it in your trademark? Do you want it to be a part of the trademark? If no, then no, don't include it. If yes, then yeah, include it. Just make sure whatever the trademark is when you're filing the application accurately reflects the trademark as you're going to be using it. Just because your business name says something doesn't mean the trademark needs to say that same thing. And it's also, if you think further of it, the trademark really has nothing to do with the business's name at all. You can file trademarks for things that aren't your business name. I have a registered trademark for All Up in Your Business. I don't have a separate entity. I don't have a separate LLC for All Up in Your Business. It's all under my law firm's business. But that's a registered trademark that I have. So again, if you think about it that way, you don't even have to file a trademark application for your business name. You don't need a business name to file a trademark application. So again, the point is what you want to have your trademark include. If you want it to include LLC or Inc. or Corp. or whatever the heck else, then you can include it. If you don't want it to, then you don't have to. I'm going to take this question one little step further because it's really closely related when we're talking about logos. So another similar question is, do I need to include LLC in my logo? If your business is an LLC or if it's a corporation, Inc., do I need to include that in my logo? For the most part, no. Again, it's up to you, up to what you want to do. But typically, no, you don't need to have your logo say company name LLC or company name Inc. For branding purposes, that isn't always beneficial. Sometimes your logo just looks better without the LLC in it, or for whatever reason. If you don't want LLC included in your logo, then you don't have to. And if you want to register the trademark for that logo, then your trademark would be whatever is included in the logo. For the most part, your branding and your marketing and your public facing stuff doesn't need to include LLC or Inc. or any other entity designation. There are situations like when you're signing contracts or in binding agreements where you do want those designations included. But when we're talking solely about just kind of marketing and promotional materials or your website or social media pages, you don't have to include that LLC or Inc. or whatever else in the name. And so, this is related with the trademarks. You don't have to include those in your trademark registrations either. And finally, again, it's important to remember this distinction between a business name and a trademark. They're not the same thing. They can be the same thing, but at their core, at the soul of them, they're not the same. Your business name can be completely different from your trademark. If you operate your business under a different name, or if you have a trade name or a DBA, that can be what the trademark is. But ultimately, your business name really has little to no effect on what your trademark or what you want your trademark to be. That's all for this episode, folks. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And again, don't forget to check the description for links to additional information and resources, such as my 3 tips for trademarking your brand, my free downloadable guide. And if you are interested in registering a trademark for your business, or if you need help with getting a registered trademark, feel free to contact me. My contact info is in the description as well. And you can check out details about my all-inclusive trademark registration package called Brand Bombshell, or my online DIY course called Brandish, DIY Your Trademark Application, where I teach you step by step how to prepare for, complete, and submit a trademark application without a lawyer. Thank you all so very much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time.